Hi guys, Caller from SC2GG.com bringing my commentary on a series of games played in the World Cyber Games USA Open. And this is round 2, played between Skew and Nyoken. This is a best of 3 matchup between these two excellent Terran players. And in this game we have Skew spawning in teal at the 12 o'clock position. His name is fighterreplays.com for the purposes of this match. And we have Nyoken spawning in purple at the 3 o'clock location. And this map is Python. Both players have won the games in their first round. Skew defeated In Control in the first round, and Nyoken defeated Artosis. So now these two players are playing for the right to enter the championship round. The winner will go to the champions round. The loser will go to the losers bracket, will have another chance to go to the champion round. And this could turn out to be a very epic Terran versus Terran matchup here. We're looking for basically at the beginning whether either player will be going for some sort of fast cheese here, or if they're going to be going for the standard Terran versus Terran build, which is to go to factory and possibly to go for a fast command center. We have here, looks like Skew is going to go for his supply depot inside his base. We're seeing the same for Nyoken, so both players starting off with fairly standard builds. I'll be expecting them to go for a 12 barracks followed by a 12 refinery. Very standard Terran opening here on the map Python. And Python, I think, is very good for Terran versus Terran games. It does tend towards longer games because there are a lot of resources around the map, and the wide central areas in the middle can promote wide siege lines. And although flanking will become very critical in this map, I think dropship play will also be quite interesting and quite important, although not as important as on maps with more ridges, where it's more difficult to walk around. On this map, it's actually possible to just go by ground across different bases. It looks like we're seeing an SCV being sent out for Skew here. We'll see what he decides to do with it, if he decides to go for any kind of a building in the middle, or if he's just going to go for a scout. Looks like he's probably just going to go for a scout. Looks like a barracks and a refinery on 12 here. And looks like probably the same build from Nyoken. And this build is very good in Terran versus Terran because the moment you finish your barracks, if you do it correctly, you should be able to plant your factory down, so you waste no time in getting your tech up. And by the way, in case you guys don't know me, I am mainly a cast commentator of Korean games, both classic games from the past, which I like to do, some of the Pimpus Play games, and also a lot of present-day games recently, and you can find me on YouTube. But basically, thank you for reviewing my videos. I do like the foreign scene a lot, too. I have been following things like the Yankee League, the TSL, and whatnot, and all these games really appeal to me, and it's great to be able to do a cast of them here. We're seeing a first Marine out for Skew, and he's going to be chasing the scouting SCV around. The scouting SCV is going to spot the factory being built, and we're probably going to see a factory, yes. Here's the factory at pretty much the same time for Nyoken, and meanwhile Skew also has a scouting SCV, and looks like one Marine chasing after him. 2 Marines being built here for Nyoken, and his barracks is actually being lifted up. So the fact that his barracks is lifted up would lend me to think that he's going to go for more of a 1-base build to start off with. Normally, if you're going to be doing some kind of FD build, you would get a couple more Marines, perhaps 5 or 6, and then go for your 1 factory, get your first tank out, and then build your command center at your natural expansion. But the fact that his barracks is being lifted already to scout lends me to think he is going to go for a 2 factory build. Looks like he has gone for a 2 factory build. I think, yeah, Skew's scouting SCV has been killed, so he's not going to spot this 2 factory build here, and he is getting his first vulture out. Meanwhile, we're looking at Skew going for his machine shop quicker, so we are seeing a variation here in this mirror matchup. And of course, if Skew decides to go for a relatively early command center, he might be in a little trouble to vulture harass. Notice that he's only got, I believe, 1 SCV mining gas, so he's trying to save up minerals in order to build his command center. Scouting barracks has reached his base now. And machine shop now going up, dual machine shops going up for Nyoken, so I'll expect Nyoken to go for probably vulture speed and vulture mines at the same time. That is a general build here for your 2 factory, and basically you want to put a lot of pressure on the expansion and possibly break up the ramp, in which case you can kill off a lot of units. Looks like actually Nyoken's done that with his first vulture. He's doing some micro here, and he's probably got 1 Marine kill so far, but the 4 remaining Marines managed to kill it. And actually, with the first tank coming out, I'm not sure how successful Nyoken's rush is going to be unless he gets those Spider-Mines out quite quickly. Nyoken actually not upgrading anything at his machine shop right now. That's a little bit surprising. And Skew is going to have enough resources now to plant his command center. To play it safe, he's going to place a bunker also at his front base. And this is a very standard, safe build for your fast expansion, because you do have that tank out, and he's probably not even going to bother researching siege mode just yet, because he knows that Skew will not have that many tanks. Although it looks like Skew actually is starting to produce tanks. He's skipped the vulture stage of this harass, so he is going to be going for a very strong 2-factory tank push fairly soon here. Of course, Skew has spotted this from Nyoken with his floating barracks. Skew also with one vulture of his own, perhaps waiting for these tanks to move out and trying to flank the base here. We are seeing siege mode going up for Skew inside his base, and also for Nyoken. And Nyoken actually has gone for a very fast Goliath here. He's gotten his armory down and an academy going down here, so perhaps he's a little bit afraid of wraiths perhaps at this point, or dropships. Although I'd say the Goliaths are a little bit of an early choice. I would actually say this is a bit premature here. Usually you'd want to see your starport up before you get your Goliaths out, unless you have some reason to suspect fast starport, although he has managed to kill the barracks, so Skew's forced to replace his barracks. Meanwhile, he's going to be pushing up a little bit, but I think now his floating barracks has seen siege mode is already up. He knows he can't break this. And normally the reason why you want to go for Goliaths later on is because both players will go for dropships, and Goliaths are just a general purpose unit that you want to have inside dropships. They're both decent for taking down some ground units and acting as support units, and very importantly, they can defend against incoming dropships by themselves. And if you can get a snipe off, if one of the Terran players can get a snipe off on the other player's dropships, that could change the course of the game in one instant. Barracks now floating over the second base of Skew, and so far Nyoken's done no damage to Skew. He's finally putting up his second command center, and really I have to give the advantage to Skew firmly at this point. Skew's managed to survive any kind of attack. Well, there wasn't even any kind of attack here. I feel that if Nyoken was going to attack, he should have done a little bit sooner, gone for an earlier factory build, or perhaps gone for something like fast raids or fast dropship to make up for the fact that he has gone for a slower expansion. Wow, he might lose his barracks here to the bunker. It looks like he's going to lose his barracks to the bunker, and wow, yeah, that was he shouldn't have lingered there so long. But meanwhile, he does have a siege set up on the bunker at the front door of Skew's base. Skew now bringing just one tank, 2 tanks out to secure. He's actually just putting up his second factory right now, so he's going to be a little bit slow on the production. 2 factories are pumping tanks for Nyoken, so if Nyoken can do some significant damage to expansion, he can regain the lead in this game. And looks like Nyoken now scanning in order to try to pick off these tanks, but he's already lost his 4-2 tanks, and Skew with a very good push here, using his barracks to do a little bit of scouting, I think, or perhaps yeah, just getting vision a little bit earlier than Nyoken had, and he's going to pick off the last tank here, and he's probably going to break whatever contain Nyoken was trying to set up. Nyoken also getting his Charon upgrades for his Goliaths, and this is very useful once again for sniping those dropships off. He's also got his starport with control tower, so he's going to start producing dropships of his own, and he could get a drop on the backside of Skew's base. Skew, meanwhile, getting his macro up. He's got 4 factories going up now, but critically, he doesn't have any anti-air yet. I will be expecting an armory sometime soon, or a starport. And starport, of course, he could choose to go for some raids, although at this point in the game, I think he's probably just going to go for dropships, seeing that there already are Goliaths out in number. And a bit of a semi-contain being set up here for Skew, and Skew could decide to go for even a slow contain here, a slow push here, building some turrets. Meanwhile, Skew is just unstoppable here in his push forward on Nyoken's forces, and Nyoken just unable to hold this contain. He's already lost so many tanks here to the incoming tanks from Nyoken. Nyoken already has 4 kills on that 1 tank alone, from Skew rather, and Nyoken is forced to retreat here. Meanwhile, getting his 3rd factory up. He is going to be slower on production though. He has got weapons +1 upgrading, and he might be loading up for a drop here very soon. Notice that both players have very high APMs, although I'm a little surprised that that Nyoken has so many idle SCVs with his high APM here. In fact, Nyoken looks like his average APM is a little bit higher than Skew, but that could be due to various factors that may not be effective APM. Now Skew is moving out here, and Skew's push is going to be a lot stronger than Nyoken's because he has managed to kill a lot of Nyoken's tanks, and Nyoken now forced on the defensive here. He's actually got a very significant tank deficit. I don't know where his new tanks are. It looks like actually they were inside of these 2 dropships. That would explain it, of course. And he is going to, since this push is coming, he's going to plant 1 tank on the ridge there, and that tank is going to be very effective in shelling. Meanwhile, Nyoken now has to face this big attack from Skew. Skew pushing in with his tanks. He's not going to be able to get in, though. Way too many siege up tanks here, and he wisely chooses to retreat. And it looks like Skew actually going for the expansion at the 11 o'clock. Nyoken has spotted it, but right now he is too weak to do anything about it. He loses that scouting SCV also. And so far this is turning out to what could be a very long game here, a very long turn versus turn game. And wow, I'm still surprised by these idle SCVs at the natural expansion. He really needs to just have them stop taking that nap there. And he's at 73 food count, by the way, and I expect, yeah, Skew is way up in food count. He's already in the 90s here. But Nyoken has actually managed to find a hole in this contain from Skew. Skew's doing an interesting little contain on the south here. I'm actually a little surprised he's done that, considering he's not doing anything in the south, and he's actually left the way open for Nyoken to attack his upper left expansion. I'm a little surprised there by Skew. He's also going to lose this barracks, certainly. And now transferring probes to his expansion at the upper left, but he needs to do something to defend it quickly, although looks like Nyoken is actually... Oh, I see. So perhaps Skew is waiting for Nyoken to move out and trying to set up a flank, but Nyoken smartly has left a lot of siege tanks at his front, and there's no way Skew's going to get in. Skew actually loses his entire forward force there. And now, actually, I'd say the game is getting closer and closer to balance. Although Nyoken really needs to pick up another expansion if he wants to compete. He actually has gone for a drop at the upper right, so he's going to pick up this very vulnerable position in between the 2 bases. But once Nyoken spots this, which I'm not sure he has, he is going to be able to take it out fairly easily. And I'll just take a look at his vision for a second here. It looks like he has not spotted this just yet, so we are just seeing the vision from Skew here. He has spotted Nyoken going for a base in the lower right, though, however. He probably is sending this task force out to destroy it. And I think Skew has, I think Nyoken has no idea Skew is going towards the lower right here. He's going to lose this expansion here. It looks like, actually, he already lost the SCV building it, so he already has to cancel pretty much, just because of this 1 SCV, and now he's going to be forced to cancel here. We'll see if he cancels in time. He needs to cancel. Does he do it? I'm not sure if he canceled in time. I think he canceled in time, actually. Well, I'm not positive. It could have been just one last tank hit that dispatched that command center before it was canceled. And look at this. Skew's cleverly left scouting SCVs and actually scouting Goliath around the map just to make sure. It looks like actually a big tank drop going off inside the main here of Skew, and he's also got these tanks cleverly sieged up on the right side of the main base. They're going to be able to provide a lot of cover. And look at this, 11 SCVs of Skew have already been killed here in the main base. So Nyoken desperately trying to fight back against this economic advantage that Skew has. But if this attack basically fizzes out, he's going to be hugely behind. I think this attack basically has failed, although he does have the dropship advantage at this point. 2 dropships for for Skew rather, and Nyoken also has to face attack from his front here. He has basically the same number of dropships here, and very quick combat here, going back and forth here. Both players just jockeying for position. And I think at this point, Skew has some idea that there is an expansion at the upper right corner. Nyoken now pushing out, basically clearing out the forces at his front base. Meanwhile, looks like, yeah, Skew is going to be going for a drop at the upper right here. He might be able to, he's going to pick off these 2 tanks and easily pick them off. And we'll see how fast Nyoken can get his defenses back up, if he can get a couple of forces up here to take care of this 4 tanks that are now assaulting his upper right corner. Meanwhile, Nyoken's going for an attack at the front here. He may be trying to take out the upper left expansion, and I don't know where his dropships are. Here's one dropship, and perhaps here's another dropship. They're going to be providing support for the attack on the upper left, I think. And wow, he sieged at exactly the wrong place here. His support units were far away, and Skew's going to get an excellent surround on these tanks and take them out. And Nyoken's in huge trouble here. He's going to lose these tanks, and Skew just has a significant advantage. He's basically been able to stop every single attack that Nyoken has thrown him. And look at this, he's already stopped mining at the upper right here. Skew basically is going to have to drop tanks on top of those tanks. I'm sorry, Nyoken's got to drop tanks on top of those tanks to take him out. And of course, the reason why dropships are so important in Terran versus Terran is that basically you're able to get that mobility over siege tanks. Otherwise, there's just no way of fighting siege tanks easily. You basically have to charge forward and do a suicidal attack on them, which is of course what you don't want to do if you want to conserve your units. And by the way, Skew already has 5 bases up in total. He's gotten 3 more expansions than Nyoken does. Nyoken barely trying to get up this expansion at the lower right. And Nyoken is in big trouble right now. Any advantage he was trying to get from this upper right expansion is gonna get taken down here. Looks like Skew actually is gonna try to claim this upper right base, although the command center is still hanging over him. Nyoken setting up for a very big drop here. He's got 5 dropships here, and this drop needs to succeed. Last time he did kill a number of SCVs in the main, but really that he needs to take down some of these factories. Perhaps a surgical drop on these factories is the only chance he has of getting back into this game. Although he could go expansion hunting here, it looks like he's going to do that, actually building a missile turret in advance of his drop here at the upper left. And I feel this drop is actually going to be quite successful. He might be able to take out this entire base before Skew is able to detect it. Skew is now rushing forces to the upper, to the left side here, but there's no way he's going to be able to get up this ramp now. Now that Nyoken has secured the ramp, I think he's just going to sacrifice his expansion and try to pick off some of Nyoken's expansions. And wow, he's picked off so many SCVs here. He's already got +1 upgrades, which which Skew doesn't have. Skew cleverly has built some missile turrets to pick off these this command center here. But Nyoken's expansion to lower right now under attack, and Nyoken is just hurting for resources. His main is completely mined out. He's basically mining off of 1 base here, trying to put up another expansion at the 6 o'clock position. He's done a good counterattack here in taking out this base at the left side here at the 9 o'clock, and basically he's trying to set up another expansion of his own. And both players just going at it here. Nyoken now has to defend at his front once again. Skew going for an attack, and basically both players have failed at their attacks at the main. I feel that both players, what they need to do is go for attacks at the expansions, and that's proven very successful. The attacks on the main have basically been entirely warded off. And Skew now picking off another one of Nyoken's command centers at the lower right. Nyoken is just being denied expansions, and Skew this time building a missile turret in advance of his attack at the 6 o'clock position. Nyoken sending a task force to finish it off. Skew having a great defense at the upper right now. He's got 4 tanks and missile turrets set up. Meanwhile, Nyoken going for a very big attack on the upper left here. And Nyoken just driving his forces around. This is what I meant about the open space in Python. You don't necessarily need to go for pure dropships like you would on a map such as, I don't know, like one of those new maps. I have to say, like Coliseum, you definitely want more dropships. Maps like Athena, you'd want more dropships. Wuthering Heights, you'd want more dropships. But on a map like this, you can still drive around. And it looks like, though, Nyoken is going to lose his attack force. Skew using his SCVs very well here. And although he's losing SCVs left and right, he's able to pick off this expansion, pick off this attack and save his expansion. So Skew continuing to have this economic lead here. He still has his 3 original bases here, and his main's actually not mined out yet because a lot of SCVs have been killed. But Nyoken finally getting his 3rd base up here, but I'm just going to wonder how long he's going to be able to hold this. He's lost expansions at the left side twice already, and actually he's forgotten to kill off these supply depots here when he was taking out Skew's base, and now Skew has retaken his expansion at the upper left. 4 bases against basically 1 mining base here, or you could say really 3 bases against 1. And Nyoken still with a force in the middle here, but his food count, basically I feel that Skew has been absorbing most of the attacks in this game, but overall, since he's just going to kill one army after another, he's going to defeat Nyoken at the end here. And Nyoken trying to drive to the south here, and oh, what happened was Skew is actually going for an attack at Nyoken's expansion at the 6 o'clock, and he's going to now lose his attack force, but at a heavy cost for Nyoken. Nyoken's lost all of his SCVs at the 6, and he can hardly afford to do this, to lose all these units here. Nyoken now with another attack force going for the front once again, I think. I'm sorry, Skew with another attack force going for Nyoken's front, and Skew now moving south, actually. Nyoken once again trying to secure the left side expansion. He's going to lose his command center. Wow, he needs to repair it. He looks like he repairs just in time before that hero SCV picks it off. That would have been quite embarrassing. And once again, Skew just relentless in preventing Nyoken from getting any new expansions. And that's basically what he's done, and he's almost like playing a Zerg player in this game, just picking off expansions left and right. He needs to go and finish this off. Skew, you need to finish off this command center. But it looks like he's worried about this attack on his main base. This is the big attack I was talking about. He's going to be going for a surgical drop here. Look at that great dropship micro there, unloading them on the move here. Of course, that does take a lot of practice. It's not a standard command. You need to go and use your practice. And it looks like Skew's forced to take his SCVs out, but Skew doing a great job of defending. He's managed to siege up tanks, and actually looks like our Nyoken's last drop has failed. But Nyoken has a couple more Goliaths dropping down here, and this could make the difference. This will make the difference here. He is going to win this battle, and for a while he will have control over the factories of Skew. So can Nyoken pull this off? Skew has now brought all of his forces south here. North here to defend his own base, and looks like finally he will defend his base successfully. So I feel this game is pretty much over now for Nyoken. He's lost the base here at the 6 o'clock position. He has just one new expansion here, and his last shot, his last bolt, was trying to take those factories down, and basically he's lost the game here. He still has one more army coming up, but just look at his resources. He's hurting so much for resources. Meanwhile, Skew is just able to be pumping from all these bases here, and really, he's now going to pick off the last new expansion of Nyoken's, and really, Nyoken can't do anything at all. Looks like he's using his SCVs to fight here to pick off these straight buildings. And basically, the reason why Nyoken has lost this game is because he was just unable to hold any of his new expansions. I have to say, his attacks and his drops were pretty much superior to Nyoken's, but superior to Skew's rather. But he just didn't have the ability to hold any of his new expansions, and Skew was just able to out-macro him, and now it looks like the army of Nyoken is going to get picked off on the left side here. He's trying to siege, but this is it. I mean, even if he manages to survive this battle by a little bit, he just won't be able to recreate his armies, and looks like he won't even win this battle. Wow, all those tanks going down here for Nyoken, and Skew has taken this battle, and he will be able to pick off the last remaining expansion here, and I believe Nyoken is going to good game here very soon here. So Skew taking the first game fairly comfortably. He's got almost no gas mining, and it's just doing an excellent job, I have to say, of controlling the middle of the map and preventing Nyoken from succeeding in any of his well-planned attacks. Not much to say. Skew is very well known for his, Nyoken's very well known for his Terran versus Terran play, but in this game it was just not enough to face against Skew, and I have to say, Game 2, Nyoken has his work cut out for him. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Caller signing off.